there's a kanji for rhinoceros. That just made my day. I was going through my kanji dictionary, looking at completely unrelated kanji, and boom, this kanji means rhinoceros. Yes! I'm just so thrilled by that, and I'm not even sure why. I also found the kanji for fart, pee, and feces in that same section of the book. I don't even know why. So, last week, we had an elementary school visit. That is, a bunch of foreign exchange students went to an elementary school instead of attending regular class. We didn't skip class. This was a school event. And I almost didn't make it because we were supposed to meet at Takarazuka Minamiguchi Station. Where I went to Takarazuka Station thinking that Minamiguchi, which just means south exit or south entrance for those of you who don't know Japanese, south mouth technically. I just figured it was like one of the gates at the doors of the station. So you go to Takarazuka Station, and then this is where you're meeting there. But no, it's actually in a separate station, and I did not figure that out until like 5 minutes before I was supposed to be there. And they'd stressed that being late would not be tolerated, you would get left behind, and that if you were left behind, that would count as an absence for both your 1A and your 1B class. Which would have screwed me over so hard. Without a valid medical excuse, I cannot skip classes. I will lose my scholarship and have to repay all of it that I've received, which is, at this point, a couple $1,000s. I just can't do it. It's not feasible. So, luckily, even though I was a little late, they hadn't left yet, so I was okay. And we went to the elementary school and listened to them play the pipe organ for a little bit. And then we went into the classroom and looked at some posters that they'd made talking about various countries and their research on various countries. And there was a poster about food in America, and there was one comment on there that everybody just loved, which is they don't eat vegetables much. It's like, okay, yeah, you got a point. And then we actually got to meet the kids, and everyone was partnered with an elementary school student. And, well, to be honest, it was not as interesting as I had thought it would be. We were told before we went that the elementary school students would be speaking in English and we would be speaking in Japanese, which would kind of put us all on about the same level, which is a very low level of communication. But it turns out the elementary school students were only going to ask 4 questions that they had prepared beforehand in English, and then after that they would move on to Japanese, which was, even elementary school student Japanese is well above my head and above the heads of most of the class. I think we had a few people who were a bit more fluent in there, but and the girl I was partnered with, clearly not enthused to be talking to me. It's like, because what it is that we all had a number that we would hold up, and then the kid who had also received the corresponding number would come and meet us. And I was holding up my number, and this girl comes up and looks at me and starts looking around like, are you sure it's this one? Maybe I misread. Is there someone else holding up that same number? I'm like, I didn't even look scary that day, or relatively. I'd shaved, I'd brushed my hair back and worn relatively nice clothes. Um, so we talked, and she was very quiet. And because most of the other people in the class were having such vigorous conversations, I really couldn't make her out very well. So that was not as fun as we'd hoped. But then we had lunch with the kids and talked a little with kids then, and they put on a presentation which consisted of one part talking in English about how awesome their class was, and two parts playing bells. Which is to say, each student had two little handbells, each of a different pitch. So between like 20 or 30 students with two handbells each, that's a lot of different pitches, and they were very well coordinated and directed. It was quite a good performance. Normally when I'm listening to, kids of that age perform, it's kind of painful to watch and or listen to, and the only reason anyone does it is because, well, they're 8, it's so cute. Well, this was actually good. Not like the best thing I've ever heard. I have heard a really, really good bell. What do they call that group? Bell orchestra, bell choir. I could have sworn they called it a bell choir, although there was no singing. But anyway, I mean, I've heard a really good performance with bells in that same kind of a way. But this was not unbearable to listen to. They were actually played the bells quite well. So that was kind of nice. And then we all went home. We passed the Astro Boy Museum. It's not actually, I think, a museum dedicated to Astro Boy, the character or the show, but rather the artist who created this show, which, by the way, is apparently called Atom here in Japan. That's the original name for Astro Boy, Atom. Much cooler, actually. Well, Atom something something. I took a photograph of the kanji so I could look them up, but I haven't looked them up yet. So, it's Atom something something. So we passed that museum on the way there, and that was kind of fun. We all made a few cracks about that. And then, let's see. So because of this elementary school visit, which was on Tuesday, we didn't have class on Thursday because it counted as both our A and B class, and the B class was on Tuesday, so we went then, and you guys just canceled the A class. And I didn't remember that, so I did all the A class homework on Wednesday night, which pretty much left me this weekend free, because I don't have any homework due until Wednesday. Yeah. And that's some kanji homework that's like already more than half done. Quite relaxing. So I spent the weekend working on really detailed character sheets, about 2 or 3 pages long, that I found the format on the internet. So I'm just writing these really long character sheets for my characters and different stuff. I only got through about 2, and I'm working on a third. I'm not even halfway through the third, though. Yeah, so that's pretty much been my week. Later.